So in that battle of Uhud, we see that great men of the Muslims were killed. Someone like Hamza. Hamza was the uncle of the Prophet, was killed. And some other great companions, like it was said, 70 men were killed in that battle of the Muslims. And this happened that even when how was Hamza killed? There was a Abyssinian warrior, a slave called Wahshi. It was said that Hind bint Rabi, bint Utbah, Hind, the wife of Abu Sufyan, wanted the revenge, wanted to avenge the death of his father, a father who was unalive in the Battle of Badr. It was said that in the Battle of Badr, Utbah ibn Rabi'ah was unalive. So with that, she wanted to avenge the death of her father. So she decided that to do so, she ordered her slave called Wahshi that amongst these three, I want to unalive one of them. He mentioned the Rasul, he mentioned Ali, he mentioned Hamza. So he said, anyone you unalive will satisfy my heart. Now, he took the Wahshi, he's a good spear holder. He took the spear and marked to the extent that he focused his spear on Hamza instead of Ali or Rasul, which are distant away from Hamza. Hamza was open. Then he began to arrange the spear, focusing it on him. And he struck with his spear, and all of a sudden he hit the chest of Hamza. It was said Hamza fell down, and they brought Hamza. When the Muslims were in disarray, it was said that the wind tore the chest of Hamza after he had cut the nose and ears of Hamza and brought out the heart and liver of Hamza, and he wanted to eat the liver of Hamza. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the liver strong, very strong, and in her mouth that she could not chew it, and that is one of the incidents that took place in Battle of Uhud. Now, in Battle of Ghatfan, it was said that it was said that Rasulullah was sitting on a tree, as was taking some refreshing air. Then people of the two tribes, Banu Talaba and Banu Muhrab, they sent a 500 armies, was said, with a man by the name of Zatu. And when a man came and met Rasulullah harmless, without any harm. So it wanted to unalive the Prophet. Then it was wanted to unalive the Prophet. The Prophet got up as was being trepidated. Then he saw the man. Then the man said, then, Ya Rasulullah, or Ya Muhammad, because they didn't believe he was a messenger. Oh Muhammad, who can save you now? The Prophet looked at him and asked Allah, and Allah helped the Prophet by shaking his hand. All of a sudden, the sword fell down. And after his sword fell down, as was terrified, Rasulullah rushed over and took the sword and brought that down and said, now, I'm the owner of the sword now. Who can save you? If it were any other person, we would have quickly unalived him. But what happened? Rasulullah refused to unalive him. Rather, he told him to repent and accept Islam or go peacefully, and gave back the sword to him. And due to his mercy of the Prophet, this man's heart became subdued, and then he accepted Islam as forgiveness from Allah. This is the true character of the Prophet Muhammad. There are more to that. Even the battle of Khandaq, in the assist of battles by the Prophet. Battle of Khandaq. The battle of Khandaq means the Maut. This when Rasulullah realized that the people in Quraysh, after the battle of Khandaq, known as battle of Azab, or the time where some of the Jews, because of their hatred, their enmity to the Prophet, after the Prophet had called them, because the Prophet realized that the Jews are closer to them than anyone else, because they believe in Allah, as the Quran mentions them in Surah Al-Imran. When he was calling the Jews, he said, "Qul ya ahl kitab, ta'ala ila kalimat sawa baina wa bainakum." Go, people of the book, come to what is between us and you in the world. And لَعَلَا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَى اللَّهِ, do not worship other than Allah. وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا, do not associate partner with him. Then he was saying there, وَلَا يَتَّخِذَ بَعْضُنَا بَعْضًا بِالْأَرْبَابَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ, do not take part of us as Lord beside Allah. Do not do that. But in tawala, if they turn, then kulu, say, ashhadu bi anna muslimun, we are Muslims. This is what the statement of the Prophet. But what happened? It was said that when he urged them to be united in faith, because we have a common ground, but they refused to be united with them. They joined hands with the enemies of Islam, the Quraysh and Sufyan, which they brought 50 of the leaders with their 30 leaders, organized some soldiers in their midst, and they led a confederation against the Prophet. And this message reached the messenger of God. So it is told Salman Farisi, we organized some soldiers around Muslims around you to build a trench. And they built a trench to protect them. And it was said when they were coming, second day passed, they were increasing in number until 24 days. It was said they were there waiting until the trench will be what? Covered. But at the end of the day, they will keep digging more of the trench. But all of a sudden, it was said that a man by the name of Arab ibn Abdul Wad, and even Nawfal ibn Abdullah, and even many of them, like they were there, they jumped over the trench and they met the Rasul and his followers. It was said that fear gripped the followers of the Prophet. Then the believers were gripped with fear because it was said Amr ibn Abdul Wad was like the 1,000 soldiers because of his experience in wars. Then he was on his horse and calling out, "Who will come and fight me? Who will come and fight me?" Rasulullah turned to the Muslims. He says, Ayyuhum, which of you? He said, Ayyukum, who will come and attack or fight facing Amr ibn Wad? No one could stand in fight except one standing saying his name is Ali, young boy, young man, he said, wants to fight. Ali said, "No, I don't want you. I want a stronger man." Because this man is very great and strong. Then it was said that who came out? The Quran mentioned in Surah Al-Ahzab, which is verse 10 and 11 and 12. When he said, وَإِذَا جَاءَكُم مِّن فَوْقِكُم وَمِنْ أَسْفَلِ مِنْكُمْ فَانزَغَتْ أَبْصَارُهُمْ وَبَلَغَتْ قُلُوبُهُمْ حَنَاجِرَهُمْ. He said, when they come to you from above you and from beneath you, then their hearts, their eyes were sleeping, going down like the birds. No? It was said in one narration, it's like birds on their head. And what happened? Their hearts has jumped to their throats out of fear. They were grieving out of fear. They had jumped to their throats. Then they were tadunu billahi dhununa. They were having different thoughts about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hunnalika tiliya mu'minuna wa zuzzilu zizzala shadida. The believers began to, at that point in time, they were being tested. And their hearts, and they were shaking tremendously. They were shaking so hard. Then it says that those munafiqun among them will say, وَيَقُولُوا مُنَافِقُونَ وَالَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٌ. And those who are munafiq, the hypocrites, and those who have disease in their heart, who do not actually believe, but they pretend to believe, then they will say that, because this is their own statement, they will say, وَمَا مَا وَعَدَ النَّارَ اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ إِلَّا غُرُورٌ. That what was promised by Allah and his messenger is nothing but deception. This is the point they have reached. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protected Muslim after Ali had fought Al-Murad ibn Wad and he brought him down, and history tells us that they were shaking. The old kuffar were shaking, the mushrikun were shaking, the Jews also supported them were shaking, and they began to run away in disarray. And that brought victory to the Muslims. That was why it is said, Rasulullah said in one hadith, one narration in Tariq, he said, this battle is like kullu iman mutawaji'a ila kullu kufr. That every iman is against every kufr on that day. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us strength in iman. That was why those who will think that they are to die because they do not have faith, because they are being tested, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will always test you as believers. We test believers. When he tests believers, as it says in the Quran, that you'll be tawalitu blawuna fi amwalikum wa fi anfusikum. You will be tested by your words, you'll be tested by your desire. And those who will stand firm among the believers, Allah will give them great reward because they are doing that in Dalika min azmi umur. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.